Hello and welcome to Bonaparte, a Mechanized Revolution. If you'd like to check out the game, there is a link in the description. This is an alternate history 1789 where you take the role of Napoleon, or as it happens in the alternative version, one of these two characters, either the male or female version, and this is indeed a grand strategy, turn-based strategy, and a narrative, shall we say, society simulator as well. So let's just dive in so you can get a nice idea as to what's going on. So, at the outbreak of the revolution, your name was either César or Céline, and we're going to be going for César, of course, and Versailles Palace, July 1789. The once glorious kingdom of France teeters on the brink of collapse. Common people starve, the bourgeoisie chafe at unfair taxation. Flash riots break out across Paris. For the first time in almost 200 years, King Louis XVI agrees to convene the Estates General, a gathering of representatives from the clergy, nobility, and commoners, to air their grievances and save the country from financial ruin. As a member of the King's Royal Guard, you are here on duty. Alright, so basically, these choices right now have a fundamental impact on how the game is going to progress. And so, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to select something very different than what I selected in my other save, because I want to see what happens, and I also want to tell you what would have happened if you had chosen a different option, okay? So we're going to do a little bit of an exploration here. So before, I chose my career is important to me. However, this time, I'm going to say, I take the king's safety seriously. Your loyalty has earned you the recent promotion to the rank of captain. You surveil the restless crowd. Loyal subjects, you have been summoned to discuss a dire matter. Though we are proud of General Lafayette and our Colossi Phlogistorium for defeating the British in the American War, the victory has left our treasury empty. So as you could quite clearly tell, this is very much alternate history, and they are using these massive mechs called Colossi to win wars and indeed battles. You've only encountered Colossi in training. Their power is unlike anything you've wielded in battle. And you can say they're an extravagance, or I want to command one. I said I want to command one beforehand, and we're going to be saying the same thing again this time because I want you to see what they're like. They require a strong hand. It is my dream to harness their might. New taxes are needed to repay the loans that finance the war. Ignorant oaf. The people are already overburdened. His Majesty means well, but how could the people possibly give more to their country? After much discussion, a radical voice calls out, "Enough with you and your taxes. The time has come for a new form of government." How dare you? I should have you hanged for such treasonous words. My prince, please forgive my colleague, however imprudent his statement. I am sure we are all in agreement. France needs reform. A constitutional monarchy with the king as its head and a body comprised of its populace would serve and protect all. The estates meet in private for future discussion. On their return, the bourgeoisie declare themselves the National Convention and claim the right to govern themselves. I refuse to recognize this. I am the ruler of France, and France is me. I decide what is and is not the law. We are here by the will of the people. We will not leave except at the point of bayonets. Brother, they are calling for a revolution. We must crush this movement. Summon the royal army, secure Versailles and Paris. 40,000 royal troops arrive from across the country, surrounding Versailles and Paris. The soldiers' arrival only provokes outrage in the streets. The people protest outside the Bastille, a prison fortress in central Paris, and a symbol of the arbitrary injustices of the monarchy. We demand that the garrison surrender. Release all prisoners, give us your weapons. Across the city, the royal guard is pulled in every direction. This farce has gone far enough. Captain Bonaparte. My troops await orders, Your Highness. The riot in the street is at a boiling point. The violence might spill over and claim innocent lives if it is not quelled. Take command of a Colossus. Crush the revolt at the Bastille. And we're going to say you would deploy the Colossi, or it would be an honor, my prince. I'm going to say it would be an honor. Because we really, really want to get our hands on one of the Colossi, don't we? Through the Colossus, I will safeguard the security of France. Very good. Remember, Bonaparte, you follow the orders of the rightful ruler of this country. Allowing the peasants any control will lead to chaos and destruction. This situation will be dealt with. Alright, let's do it. Okay, so, Captain Bonaparte, let's advance upon the enemy. Okay, so basically this is a tutorial, so, you know, I know what to do because I've obviously played the game quite a bit, but, you know, it's very much, shall we say, HP, morale are your main stats that you have to deal with when facing enemies. So if you can reduce the enemy's morale to 20% of their total morale, then you can negotiate with them, and as you can see right here, a chance to convince a nearby enemy battalion unit at 20% or less morale to surrender. And then if you are successful, you can remove them from the field immediately. So, and there are ways to intimidate them. As you can see, there is an intimidation ability as well, so you can unnerve a nearby enemy unit and decrease morale for an enemy within 3 tiles by 5. Personally, for me, I find it a lot easier to just flank the opponent and then just murder them, but obviously you can decide what you want to do. So when you left click and then right click on an enemy, it will tell you a little bit about what's going to happen here, and you can see exactly what's going to go down when we actually get into the battle. Now, you may see that we're moving really, really fast. You know, our movement is really, really fast, and that's just because I'm currently playing on times 2 speed. You can obviously change that if you so desire, but I personally like it a great deal, so we're going to just leave it the way it is. And we're just going to move our cavalry over here to attack the citizen militia, and as you can see, we're doing relatively nicely. So we're just going to skip that ahead as well. There we go, and I don't think we have anything else that we can do, so we are just going to end the turn here. And our Colossi is going to get attacked by the citizens, and as you can quite clearly tell, we have 10,000 HP. Yes, 10,000 HP, which is extremely, extremely intimidating in general. For me personally, if I was in their situation and I had to, you know, go up against this massive mechanized destruction machine, I would probably just go home. That's probably what would happen. Anyway, we must press on, Captain. I suggest we flank the enemy by going around and attacking from the rear. You might notice the enemy can either face left or right. Attacking from an enemy's rear gives us attack bonuses and prevents them from riposting. Yes, so that's exactly what we're going to do. So, as you can see, the enemy is over there, and I don't think we can go around or anything, but we can go in here and then go all the way around. So we're going to use Force March, and that's going to enable me to get into range. Launay, you coward, let us in. Citizens, we cannot allow your entry. In the name of the king, we will defend this fortress with our lives if necessary. Your loyalty is commendable, but the king cares little whether you and your men live or die. Why waste your lives? Surrender the Bastille to us, or else we'll hang every last one of you. You guide the Colossus forward. The ground quivers with each step, announcing your presence. That is enough. Citizens of Paris, I am Captain Bonaparte of His Majesty's Royal Guard. While I sympathize with your outrage, I will not condone any act of violence. Leave now, and you will not be harmed. We will stay where we are until every last prisoner is released from the Bastille. Lucien, you led the mob here? Hardly. Each of us chose to rise up and fight today. Join us, César. Turn the Colossus against the crown. Let us take the Bastille and liberate its prisoners. The citizens of Paris and my own brother are risking their lives to fight for liberty. If only I could stand with them. Captain Bonaparte, the mob is growing restless. Help us disarm them before they wreak havoc on the city. But the garrison, my fellow soldiers who will fight to the death for king and country, how dare I abandon them? They are about to attack, Captain. What are our orders? With whom do my loyalties lie? Okay, so this is another one of the big choices. So this is actually a really big choice. This is one of the biggest choices that you can actually make in the early game, because this determines whether the king feels like you've betrayed him. So basically what I did in my initial playthrough is I selected the people. Because, well, I think that makes the most sense, generally. However, if you want to be a royalist, which I personally am not, in general, but, if you do, then you can select my king. And I am going to be doing that in this one, because, beforehand, the king basically had huge issues, and he was wanting to escape from the country, and there was all this drama surrounding him, and it was absolutely fantastic. Very, very cool. That it changes so dramatically. But let's see exactly what happens when we select my king. My king, disperse the rioters. Onward, men! The Bastille's troops are now yours to command, Captain. You pull an iron lever, fumes of phlogiston rush through the pipes like blood. The air warms. From the commander's seat, Lucien looks small. César, you would rather be the king's lapdog than side with us? So be it. Citizens, fight for your lives. Fight for freedom. Alright, so that's the reason why I moved my Colossi all the way over there, because now we are basically within striking distance of them, and we're going to use Force March with my cavalry here as well. I'm just going to get all the way around them. Unfortunately, because we had to use Force March, I no longer have any actions to take, and same thing with my Colossi as well, so we're basically just going to be standing right next to them. However, what I can do is I can move my wonderful, wonderful cannon, and we might be able to actually hit them from here. Oh, no, we can't. Okay, yeah, that's actually kind of sad. Okay, I guess what we'll do is we'll do something like this. We'll do a nice little force march, move these guys in front. There we are. Move these guys. And there we have it. Okay, so now they're in disciplined formation as well. Basically, disciplined, as you can see right here, grants this unit a +10 defensive bonus for each adjacent unit with the disciplined attribute. And then you also have reactive here, which basically means that they can attack if they're attacked, pretty much. It's self-explanatory, isn't it? Anyway, now our Colossi is going to be taking some big damage, which obviously is intended. I am trying to make it so that our Colossi is going to literally just absorb damage. We want him to absorb damage. The enemy's will to fight is faltering. Let's take advantage of this, Captain. Health is shown in red, while morale is displayed in blue. If a unit runs out of morale, it will capitulate instantly. We should hit the enemy with attacks that deal more morale damage if there is an opportunity. Yeah, so that's basically what I told you beforehand. There is Intimidate, as you can see right here. For me personally, I don't think that is really going to do much. You can indeed use Trample, as you can see, and this does some pretty cool stuff. Basically, this is what it does. Move up to 4 tiles in any direction, moving through up to 3 allied and enemy units. Trampled enemies take 700 physical damage and 5 morale damage. Mech units that execute Trample accumulate 5 heat for each enemy trampled. By the way, heat is your main mechanic as a mech, and basically what happens is you're going to take more damage, basically, if you're getting hotter and hotter and hotter. So, can we actually use Trample here? Is it actually possible for me to use Trample here? I don't actually know whether that's even possible. Ah, yes, it is actually possible. Let's do it. There we go. We actually trampled them. Very, very nice. Okay. Can we do more damage? No. Okay, we can't do more damage. That's absolutely fine, though. We're going to just do a nice little flanking attack right there. Really, really big damage, actually. Surprisingly big damage. And we can also maybe... Yeah, we can actually kill them instantly with the cannon. If we are lucky. Nope, oh, they resisted. Very, very nice. Okay. Yeah, so we're just going to move here. We're going to get them all into a disciplined line formation. Haha, yes. A wonderful, wonderful line formation. And we are just going to be firing at them old-fashioned style. Classic style. And, yeah, we are absolutely fine right now. Yeah, we are doing great. We're doing great. Okay, so all we need to do now is wait for them to make their moves, and then we'll see what we can do after that. Yeah, but you know, the more that these guys actually attack our Colossus, the better. That's it. That's what we want. Your mech is accumulating heat quickly. Be careful about heat buildup. Otherwise, it can be damaged and might even shut down. If heat rises too high, take a turn to vent. It will get your mech back in action and prevent further damage. So you can see here we're currently at 50 heat, which is quite a large amount, but I am going to continue. Should I continue attacking, actually? You know what? Yeah, you know, no, I'm just going to vent. That's fine. I think we can attack. Yeah, we can actually attack. Okay, cool. So we did vent, and then we attacked at the same time. That's really, really nice, actually. I like that. Okay, so we can obviously finish these guys off, and then we can do damage with our wonderful cannon. Yeah, unfortunately, the cannon is being resisted right now, which is not exactly great. But at least we're attacking from behind, which is causing us to have a flanking attack, which means that the enemy cannot retaliate, which is wonderful. So let's do some damage here. Get that guy out of the way. Can we do another one? No, we cannot. Okay, yeah. So that's going to have to be it. And I think we are basically done. Yeah, funnily enough, the mech cannot retaliate, as far as I can see. There is no retaliating with this guy, so I guess that does kind of make sense considering the fact that it is a massive unit and it does big damage. Anyway, there we go. We were able to absolutely crush the rioters. We have repulsed their attack. Victory is ours. Damn, these bastards are tougher than they look. Retreat, run for your lives. The rioters flee, abandoning their wounded. Governor Launay's soldiers bring them to you. Among the prisoners is Lucien. Lucien, I'm relieved that you live. How did you get involved in this recklessness? Don't you understand the severity of your actions? I regret nothing. I have helped the people fight for their liberty. But you, César, can you live with what you've done? All those that you killed today, they were citizens of this country, our brothers and sisters who dared to stand their ground and fight for their future. As Lucien speaks, you hear shrieks and cries in the distance. They grow louder. Soon an armed mob arrives in front of the Bastille, led by Robespierre and Danton. Okay, impossible. There are even more of them than before. Citizens of Paris, look upon these cowards and traitors of the Bastille. They hide behind their walls and cannons, but what could they have to fear from their own people? They have mercilessly butchered our friends, our families, our comrades. And to what end? Nothing. They are mindless pawns, doing the bidding of the nobility and the king. They fear your justice and your retribution. They are enemies of the people, enemies of France. The true enemies of France are you filthy degenerates. Prince Charles arrives with a contingent of the royal army. Reinforcements, about time. Captain Bonaparte, I am relieved to see that you've survived. We are outnumbered. All of Paris is up in arms. We have nothing to fear from this rabble. Through cold steel and gunpowder, we will remind this city who is their master and sovereign. Charge. Okay, apparently, here we go. Okay, just as the two sides clash, a rider in blue arrives. In the name of the king, cease your hostilities at once. What nonsense is this, Lafayette? I come bearing royal decrees. The king grants amnesty to all those who took part in today's events. All royal troops are to leave Paris and return to Versailles. Disperse and all shall be forgiven. This is madness. These renegades must be brought to justice. To violate the king's decrees is treason. No one is exempt, not even princes. For the peace and prosperity of France, the king has allowed the formation of the National Convention. All members of the Estates General have been released from captivity. Everyone is invited to take part in drafting a constitution for our country. This cannot be. It is done. There is no need for further bloodshed, my friends. The king has already acquiesced to our demands. Let us disperse the crowds before we lose control and they turn against us. A prudent course of action. Very well. Brave citizens of Paris, the king has bowed to your might. Through the National Convention, my friends and I will continue the fight for liberty and equality. Return to your homes and celebrate your victory, for you have changed history today. Alright. Triumphant cries echo through the city. Eventually, the crowd disperses. The Comte d'Artois reluctantly sends his soldiers back to Versailles. A historic day, and your role in it is not forgotten, Bonaparte. Your bravery has prevented anarchy, allowing France to take its first steps towards an enlightened government. I am forming a coalition of eminent individuals who are committed to finding a peaceful path towards progress. We call ourselves the Moderates. We would be honored if the hero of the Bastille would join our cause. An enlightened government? This is not America, Lafayette. France has history, France has culture, and what lies at the heart of our glorious country is the king. Commoners and nobles, laborers and scholars, soldiers and bureaucrats, we are all united in our service to the crown. Anarchists wish to tear apart our country, but they do not speak for everyone. Step outside of Paris and you will find that the French people love their king. Bonaparte, our duty is to be the king's shield, protecting him from all those who would do harm to France. I trust that you will remain His Majesty's loyal servant. Whom should I side with? And so this is exactly the point. So this is basically a complete opposite to what I had previously. Because my choices beforehand basically said that I had betrayed the king, so I did not have the royalists as an option. I did have the moderates still, because apparently they are just willing to take anyone. That's just how that goes. And then you had the Jacobins here, who are indeed the people that want to fight for the people, basically. They're the ones that want to fight for the common man, the citizens, and so on and so forth. For this, I think what we're going to do is we are going to be an ultra-royalist as much as we possibly can, just because I think that sounds like a fun perspective to take, considering in my previous playthrough I was playing completely opposite to that. So that's what we're going to do. Very good. Let us save France from anarchy and restore the kingdom to her glory. Alright, and so we now have a completely different look as well. I don't know whether you noticed that, but we have the ultra-royalist colors, which I think is actually very cool. So you can see your party's resources up there, the navigation bar, the menu bar, time panel. Terra is a new mechanic that basically is kind of like a timer system, and you'll see exactly what it's all about. So terror rises due to military violence, propaganda, or oppressive laws. High levels of terror will lead to major historical events. While terror should be balanced, it will inevitably rise over time. And this will show other parties' actions between turns, the recent events bar over there to the right. And this panel shows the selected army, which is currently set to your army. To take strategic actions, one of your armies must be selected. This shows your current army strength. I have 14 strength. You can click here to switch the leader of the current unit, and this icon shows the overall size of your army. Click here to return to Bonaparte's army. Right click to attack enemy regions. You can move to neutral regions or allied regions. And indeed enemy regions, of course. And then you can press there to end the turn. So basically, scene setting, it says discuss with Lafayette at the Moderate Club, discuss with d'Artois at the Royalist Club, and Robespierre at the Jacobin Club, and attack and conquer Melun. So that is indeed the first thing that we should do. So that's exactly what we're going to go for, and it is indeed a decisive victory. Now, what I have found is that personally for me, I really like auto-resolving in this game, because I personally find the overall macro gameplay and the ability to decide a number of different things to be much more fun than the combat system, but that is just me personally. It's probably just because I really like seeing what happens. I'm one of those people that loves a choice-based gameplay, and yeah. So anyway, the Comte visits your new office in Melun, and Captain Bonaparte, I hear you have been successful in your campaign so far. I thought I'd offer my counsel, then now that you control Maloon. I'm going to say I'd appreciate your guidance, but I kind of know what he's going to say as far as I can tell. Now that you control the town, you will benefit from its resources. Well, technically, it's a region more than a town. The buildings in your district will impact the amount of coin, influence, and phlogiston you acquire over time. While controlling a region, you may upgrade its existing structures or demolish them and build anew. Be mindful, however, your decisions affect the locals, and their disapproval will harm your influence at the national convention. Best of luck. He takes his leave. Alright, so basically what you can now do is you can select Maloon, or, well, I will be able to select Maloon very, very soon. Not right now, because unfortunately they haven't unlocked that ability for me just yet, but hopefully we will have the opportunity to do so. Anyway, there we go. So that's turn 2 already. And here we go. As you can see, you can recruit new units and everything, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We can't recruit the new Colossus yet because we don't have the scientist that is actually going to end up joining us at some point. I actually don't know whether she's going to join us anyway, or whether it's dependent on your previous choices or not. So I guess we'll find out at some point in the future. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to select Pauline Lacombe. There we go. And we're going to get her. There we go. She could be a great help to our cause. There we go. What kind of future will this be? We fight for the king and to preserve glorious history and traditions of France. Well said. I will do my best. Okay, so there we go. So now she's joined us, and we are hopefully going to be able to recruit some people as well. I have 400 gold. So what do we want to do? Well, I currently don't know. I currently don't know. Maybe nothing at all, to be honest. I'm actually wondering whether we want to... I mean, I do want to recruit something, but I don't want to recruit anything super expensive. What is this unit? What is that? I can't tell what that is. I guess I will take this thing. There we go. We must conscript new troops for our army. There we go. I'm just going to skip that. There we go. And she recruited a grenadier. Very nice. And we're getting 200 gold every single turn. So that's very nice indeed. And you have 2 actions as far as I can tell. You have 2 actions every single turn as well. So basically what you can do is you can move, and then you can do something, like you could spread propaganda if you wanted to. And here we go. So this is our new thing that we can do now, which is basically being able to upgrade existing buildings and or construct new buildings. So, for example, let's say that I wanted to upgrade my farmland. So I'm going to upgrade the farmland there. That's going to cost 35 gold, and there we are. Arrives at the worksite, and you know, everyone's very, very pleased about that. And then we can also do something else. So we can do something like this, where we can construct the Royalist Club, which is going to get us 2% approval per turn. And then we can do that. There we go. So that's exactly what's going to happen there. And we've done both of those things, which is very nice. So now, let me see. I need 500 gold to be able to get a cannon. So what I'm going to do is I am literally going to end the turn. And then we are hopefully going to be able to construct a cannon and add that to our battalion. And yes, so strategic view. So basically you have 2 different views, military and support. And basically what that means is you can find out what factions are doing the best in certain areas and regions just by a glance. So it very much helps you out. Anyway, Captain Bonaparte, the Comte de Mirabeau is here to see you. He's brought a guest. Send them in. Mirabeau enters, escorting an unfamiliar woman. Despite her polished appearance, the scent of oil and iron clings faintly to her person. Ah, so this is exactly who I was talking about previously. She is indeed the scientist that, along with her husband, created the Colossi. All right. So, I would like to introduce Madame Marie-Anne Lavoisier. Surely you recognize the name. Ah, why, your husband discovered phlogiston. Yes, his work is remarkable. There we go, remarkable work. Commanding a colossi is an experience like no other. It's a shame he did not accompany you. I would have liked to speak to him. Antoine has been ill for quite some time. He sojourns in the countryside while I lead our operations. Madame Lavoisier's own involvement in the development of the Colossi cannot be understated. She worked quite closely with him. I was first his pupil, then lab assistant. Years later, I became his collaborator, a union of the like-minded, a truly unique bond. Our marriage is a partnership. In a manner, the Colossi are our children. Then France has much benefited from your scientific contributions, madam. Now, what has brought you here? I offer you my services, Captain Bonaparte. I have followed news of your campaign keenly. I would like to support the military endeavors of the Bonapartists. Okay, yeah, so that's, you believe in our cause? Your ideals are inconsequential. The Lavoisier legacy lives through the Colossi. And so, yes, she says, after the American War, French development on the Colossi stagnated. Hundreds of Colossi were decommissioned and left to rust. While my husband convalesced, I was hired for frivolous ventures. Ornamental colossi to decorate a noble's garden, a mechanized canine to bark on the Queen's command, pompous shows of wealth. I've created nothing of real scientific consequence since no more. If I'm to work, let it be in the service of progress. Alright, so we can now commission new colossi, and she wants some gold and phlogiston and time and, you know, all that wonderful stuff. And now we can actually see populations and the approval of certain things. So you can see here, for example, in Melun, the masses, the bourgeoisie, and the aristocracy, they all have different perspectives. So you see here, they all have, like, for example, the aristocracy likes the royalists a lot. And so, for example, what I could do, and I'm not sure if I'm actually going to do that right now, because I would like to actually build a colossi. So let's actually see here. Can I actually do that? It's going to cost me... Oh, I don't have enough to be able to do that just yet. Okay, that's kind of unfortunate. Oh, I was kind of hoping, you know. I was kind of hoping, but yeah, no, never mind, never mind. Okay, well, whatever the case, what we'll do instead is we'll spread some propaganda. So propaganda is going to be a thing. So this is what we can do now. So basically, what this is going to do is it's going to increase the... we can target basically anyone, right? So we can target the masses or the aristocracy or whoever we want, and then we will condemn another faction. So, for example, let's say that we want to build... build some relation with the masses, right? So that's what we're going to do. And as you can see, we also have the support view. This is the support view right now. So you can see here that the royalists are white, basically, or gray in this case. And then the red, obviously, is Jacobins. And then we obviously have the moderates in blue. And you can see exactly what's happening with all of them at a glance, just by selecting this different view, which is very, very nice. And so what we can now do is we can do another propaganda. And I'm going to be doing the exact same thing here, where we're just going to be doing this. And we are going to be trying to sway the masses as much as we possibly can. It would probably be a better idea to actually sway the bourgeoisie, but... You know what? I'm just going to do this and see what happens. Maybe it's actually going to be good to do it this way. But it's a bit difficult. You know, it's a bit difficult to come up with what we need to do. But, you know, it's nice to try out some things. Okay, so the National Convention. That is actually going to be happening in the next turn. I'm not going to do that just yet. Because I would like to... do something here. I'd like to maybe... Can we upgrade? Yes, we can upgrade something if we want to. Do I care about upgrading right now? Not really. We could do a mech workshop, which might be kind of fun. Ooh, minus 2% approval per turn for moderates and Jacobins. That's actually really quite fantastic. Let's do that. Let's create that. There we go. Okay, that's gonna be wonderful. Actually, that's gonna be really, really nice. Okay, so we've done that, and we can also upgrade buildings as well, as you can see right here. So we can upgrade that. Unfortunately, it doesn't look as though I can. It seems like I need I need someone else to actually go ahead and do that. Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. Well, I'm gonna just do a little bit of attacking here, and we're gonna be condemning the moderates this time, and we're gonna try to have them lose power in regards to the bourgeoisie. So let's do that. There we go. Okay, then we can just skip that. Thank you. And then we can go to the National Convention. So this is going to be a pretty big deal. So here's the election result, and you can see here, each faction distributes its votes amongst the parties. This corresponds to how many votes each party gets in the National Convention. So this is the per region breakdown. And you can see here, basically, almost every single region is moderates, because you know they just win basically everything because they have the most votes, as you can see right here, and you know they're doing the best in all of these places. So if you do join the moderates, that is going to be a slightly easier game, I guess. I actually don't know, but yeah. Anyway, these are the reforms. So basically, what we can do now is we can try to push forward a particular policy, and they all have different impacts. As you can see, there are huge amounts of things available here. So basically, you can try to get mass conscription if you want to do that, and this changes fundamentally how you play the game. So for example, officers can be recruited, and multiple battalions can be conscripted per turn if you want to do that. You can also ban royalist propaganda, which is very funny because now that means that royalists can no longer build or receive benefits from printing presses. You can ban moderate propaganda. You can ban Jacobin propaganda. You can have fair trials. You can allow executions. You can confiscate private property, destruction of private property, do all that stuff. And yeah, it really means a huge amount. So what we're going to do is I'm going to see, I don't think this is really going to work, but we're going to see if I can maybe make it so that only the nobility are allowed to vote in elections. Let's try it. There's no way. There's no way they're going to do this. There's no way they're going to do this, but I'm going to just, you know, show you what's actually going to be happening here. The nobility of our country possess the knowledge and skills to decide members of the National Convention. I propose that only they be allowed to vote. Yes, the rulers of our country deserve the right to be its voice. To move our country forward, we must hear from the voices of the people, not simply the nobility. Let us now take a vote of who is in favor or against this reform. Okay, so we can now start the debate, and you can see that we are going to get yeas and we're going to get nays. And then there are some people that can abstain if they so desire. So let's start the debate. And you can obviously skip if you want to. And we're going to see... Whoa! Oh, no, there we go. Wow, that guy just... Whoa! Alright, these guys have insane amounts of votes. Yeah, so you can quite clearly tell that we absolutely got crushed there. And our reform was rejected massively. However, we are now going to be having a different one. So let's see here. France must allow public services that are accessible to all. We are more than simply a machine for creating wealth. A stronger economy will make it easier to support the prices of goods and services, something which will improve the life of each citizen. Let us now take a vote of who is in favor or against this reform. Okay, so let's have a look. Private industries run by the elites bring great economic benefit to France, and public institutions should be made private. And in other words, privatization of public property. Do we want to do the Thatcher thing? No, we don't, really, thank you. So we're going to say against. I have a bad feeling about this, though. I have a very, very bad feeling about this. It's quite funny, though, because the ultra-royalists are basically fundamentally against what I think. So it's quite amusing, considering Louis himself is literally like, oh yes, right, we must do this. No, that was rejected, as you can see right there too. It is the right of our great military leaders to decide who is truly at fault in conflict and forgive where citizens simply fought for their beliefs. To show mercy is to show we have not yet succumbed to the violence that threatens France each day. And what would this serve, to ease your conscience or to free those who lust for blood? Let us now take a vote. Okay, so it is the right of a commander in a battle to allow prisoners to go free at their discretion. And I'm at favor here. I'm in favor about this. Let's do it. I think this seems pretty cool. I think this seems like a... Yeah, as you can see, that is so funny. How the ultra-royalists are once again against this. But it does seem as though we are maybe going to get it to pass. Yeah, we might... Yeah. Oh, no, it was just... it was abstained. Okay, so apparently it just went through nothing. It just nothing happened there. So, yeah, that's that, I guess, which is kind of unfortunate, but there we have it. And, yeah, so as you increase, you know, as your terror increases, you are going to go through major historical events. Like the one I told you earlier in the episode, I was basically talking about how the king was trying to escape from France because he was not wanting to be a prisoner anymore. He didn't want to be a puppet of the bourgeoisie or the masses and you know, so on and so forth. So that's basically what he was wanting to do. All right, so I'm going to get one of the colossi here. You can get a fusilier or a pistol commandant. So basically you can have a saber, a pistol, or a fusilier. I think that actually seems pretty amazing. Yeah, you know what? I am gonna get them. I think I'm gonna get the musket. I'm gonna get the musket guy. There we go. Okay, how long is that gonna take? I have no idea how long that's going to take, but we can do some stuff. We can attack these guys. We can try to get the population. There we go. Moderates are deceiving you. Join the royalists. Yes, there we go. Thunderous cheer and applause. So we can actually take a look now. So you can see here, look at the royalists. Look at this. Every single one is 100, well, not 100%, but basically 100% supporting the royalists right now. And everyone is absolutely loving that somehow. I don't know how that's even possible, but yeah, sure. There you go. So that's basically how the game works to a degree. And there's also something else that you can do. Obviously, if you can pass some very, very cool policies in the National Convention, you can do some pretty cool stuff. So for example, this church is privately owned, and it's privately owned by the nobility, right? So what you could do is if you had a particular reform, you could then seize the district, you see? And at the moment, this action is illegal and must be enabled via reforms in the National Convention. But the fact is, it is a possibility. There is a possibility for you to be able to do that as long as you can pass the appropriate policy. So I think that that is absolutely fantastic. I think the game has a huge amount of depth to it as well. And as I said, I'm not a terribly big fan of the fighting system in the game, but that's neither here nor there. I think in general, it is very, very fun when you are in the fight. I feel like it just has a little bit, maybe it takes a little bit too long for me. I don't know. It's very much dependent on whether you have patience for it. And generally they are quite fast. That's the funny thing. The battles are quite fast. Anyway, I absolutely love the storylines and I love the intrigue and I love all of that wonderful stuff. So the fact that the choices really make a fundamental difference to the course of the game is a great strength. So if you would like to check out Bonaparte, a Mechanized Revolution, there is a link in the description. Add it to your Steam wishlist, and maybe maybe you'll get then notified when it actually comes out. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.